What is up, guys? Welcome back to OverTakes. This is Misfit. And today we're going to be doing a quick preview of the May Melee Prelims. So we're going to start with APAC and then we're going to move to NA. These matches probably are going on right now as we're talking about this. The APAC ones, that is. But first, before we get into that, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me. Thank you for all your support. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. And if you're new, thanks for joining, checking us out, stopping by. I do Overwatch League content 2 to 3 times a week, and we're just doing a quick prelim today, or preview of the prelims today, and then we'll do a full recap early in the week before we get to Hawaii. So I don't want to spend too much time talking about all the matches and whatnot, but we had Shanghai and Seoul solidifying their spots in APAC to join Philadelphia and the Chengdu Hunters. So the 4 teams we're going to have playing over there, we have Shanghai taking on Philly, and then Seoul taking on the Chengdu Hunters. So let's talk about these couple of matches we got here. Now, obviously less teams, so we only have 2 matches in APAC. And then the winners of those 2 matches will be playing next weekend, with the NA winners going to Hawaii with the whole setup ping thing and all that they're going to do, which is going to be fantastic. At least we get a live championship style match in a tournament instead of just ending it in each region. We have international play of sorts. It's something. So it is what it is. They're doing what they can do. So fantastic. So these matches, let's talk about what's going to happen here. Okay, so first up we have Shanghai taking on Philadelphia. Shanghai has looked shaky. I am not going to lie. I thought they were the best team in this region, possibly the second best team in the league. They have not looked their best. The best match that they had was against New York, who looked abysmal all weekend long. So I don't know if it was New York being bad or them being better. They had a little bit more coordination, and they looked a little bit better than they did. They struggled against Hangzhou. Now, Hangzhou also has looked better this week than they did last week. I think there might have been some nerves and all that stuff. Whatever you want to equate that to. Shanghai needs to tighten their game up. Lip came through a little bit today. DM played well today. So there is some promise, and it looks like they're moving forward in this. The tank line looked a little bit better, but they're facing Philadelphia. Philadelphia is clicking on all cylinders. They look absolutely unstoppable right now. They buried Chengdu. All right, a little drama there. They beat Chengdu 3-1. It was close, but they clutched when they had to. They just have too many guys right now. Shanghai has a lot of guys too, but the one difference that I see with Philadelphia as compared to Shanghai is the tank line. Mono and Hotba are playing like we thought they would play last year, to a greater extent with Philadelphia. It seems like they have a little bit more of an aggressive style, and these guys are playing that well. I just like what Philly is doing tank line-wise. Shanghai's some synergetic issues to work on in this. There's just too little time that they have played together, Void and Fate, that is, right now. But they look better. I think the more we get into the season, we're going to see things click a little bit better. But right now, as we speak today, I got to go with Philadelphia in this match. I'm going to go 3-1, a close 3-1 with Philly winning. I know it goes against what I said earlier in the year with Shanghai. I thought these were the 2 best teams in APAC to begin with. But I thought Shanghai would be better. But right now, I don't trust Shanghai. And most of that hinges upon the way they played against Hangzhou. I know Hangzhou played a little bit better this weekend than they did last weekend. But that just did not sit well with me. Their supports are their best spots on their team right now. Mostly Izayaki. He played out of his mind this weekend. And if he continues to do that, they're going to be in this match. This very well could go 3-2 either way. But I'm going to lean on Philadelphia because I do like Alarm a little bit better than Izayaki. And I just think Toby is better right now than Li Jae Gong as we speak today. in this current setup with teams and everything. I just think he plays better. Toby plays better with Philly right now than Li Jiegong is playing with the Shanghai Dragons. DPS matchup, obviously, it's a crapshoot. You got Carpe, but you have Fleta, and you have Lip, and you have Diem. You have Carpe, and you have Rascal, and a couple of other guys to come in and do the stuff that they need. But as it stands right now, like I said, Philadelphia 3-1. Okay, the other match, we have Chengdu taking on Seoul. I told you this week, the money's on the table, man. Seoul came to play. They clocked both teams that they played. They looked fantastic. Their tank line looked good. The supports looked like they were the shaky part of the team. They played well. Prophet and Fitz did their thing as usual. They looked great. Chengdu had the week off, so they've had time to watch these teams, see how they're playing and all that stuff, and work on some of the holes in their game where they kind of, the things that we kind of expect from them to be good were kind of not subpar, but not as good as we expected. Ball comps and stuff like that, the fast-paced style that they usually play, Chengdu. Now, in this match, going against Seoul in a playoff-type scenario is dangerous. But I'm on the Chengdu train this year, so I got to go with Chengdu. I'm going 3-2, possibly one of those 6-map extravaganzas. I know Prophet's going to do some things that are going to shock people and clutch a map out here or there or somewhere. They're not going to just lie down. Chengdu, though, is a little bit more complete in my mind today. I like the synergy that the tanks have. I think they had a week to work on some of the little things here and there. Their support line is playing great. Monk looks fantastic. I think that is one of the key things right now with Chengdu is the support line I like a little bit better than Seoul's. Seoul's support line is good, but the way Monk has been playing for them on Flex is making a big difference right now. And then you also have the tank line, which is synergistically better than Seoul is, but you have Gesture in a playoff match. These are the things that you look for with Seoul. If you're a Seoul fan or you're going to pick Seoul in this match, you have two of the best clutch guys on this team in Gesture and Prophet. They're going to do something. But I just think overall, right now, today, Chengdu is the better team, and I look for them to beat Seoul 3-2 in a fantastic match. Worth getting up for, guys. Trust me. Both matches. I mean, 5 a.m. is a little early, Eastern Standard Time, but you know what? I would do it. I mean, I have to get up early anyway, because I have to go to work tomorrow in the morning, and then I'll be free to watch all the matches and talk, and we'll be on social media and all that for the prelims after that. But let's jump into NA right now. All right, so we have our matches all set. We have the first round of the mini tournament to get to Hawaii. We have Toronto taking on the Mayhem first. So obviously you guys know where I'm going. This is a hard one, actually, because I do root for Toronto too, but I'm a diehard Mayhem fan. But yesterday with the Mayhem, they did not look good whatsoever. That there were a lot of problems. The shock absolutely, I would like to say boomed them, but that's like too small of a word. They were just absolutely destroyed by the shock. Yeah, it's shock after a loss and all that kind of whatever the mojo and all the stuff after a match with the shock. But the Mayhem didn't show up at all. Period. And there are big concerns I have. And, one of them was not OG yesterday. There were just times where they were uncoordinated. They were playing like just garbage Overwatch. But today they got things back together. Paris is better at Rush than they are. But there are just certain things that I'm watching. They have to clutch things out. They're not a team that goes in and gets a clean win. They have to. It's like the fighter that has to get punched in the face kind of thing in a match. The problem is yesterday they got punched in the face and knocked out instantly. Today they got punched in the face. They played a little bit better after that, but they need to work on some things. Now they're playing Toronto. Basically the same story. They had to clutch one out today, and this is how I see this match. So I'm going to go with the Mayhem in this 3-2, just because I think these two teams are closer than I thought they were at the beginning of the season. There are just certain subtle differences. It's certain players that are better. Naist is proving to be a good player. He was clutch today in certain situations. He looked really good. I liked what he was doing. I liked Sato, but he does have the tendency to do Sato things. So, and he doesn't have that support line that he had in Philly. So there are occasions where he's just kind of feeds and ints or whatever you want to call it right now. But I think this is going to be a 3-2 match. I think Florida's going to win out. Now, it could go worse than that for Toronto. I think Florida is definitely the better team. BQB and Yaki are fantastic. BQB carried them today. Oj played decent. He played good all weekend. At certain times against Supers, just was in a pissy mood, so he was just on his game. We'll get more to that team in a minute, but yeah, I think that Florida's got the edge in this one. I'm going to go Florida 3-2. The other match, we had Dallas taking on San Francisco. Okay, if Dallas had a hit scan player, I'd give them more than a chance in this match because San Francisco is beatable. You know, at the beginning of the season, you look at them and you're like, they're San Francisco, they're unbeatable. Atlanta today took them to 3-2. And at the point, I thought Atlanta was maybe worse than Florida and a couple other teams. I kind of still put them on the same level, if not a little bit better at certain situations. Now, the shock, I don't know if it's the hangover or whatever sports term you want to use for winning a couple of championships. I feel like there's a cockiness that the Shock have right now that's not the good cocky that they normally have where they go out and do business and take care of business. Minus yesterday. They're infinitely better than Florida. Infinitely better. Because they can match all of the comps that Florida are good at. There's nothing that Florida does that's better than the Shock right now. But Atlanta's really good at in certain situations. And on that Oasis map, to start, they punished the Shock. And that's one of the things that you never see. The Shock came into this match thinking that they're going to do the same thing they do to Atlanta as they did to Florida, just wipe their ass with them and throw them out and we're in the tournament. Atlanta had other plans. And one thing about Atlanta's players, you can say what you want about them. Last week, I did call them the soul of the West. They have guys that like playing in these big situations, and they do weird things, not weird good things. They make plays. You can call them cheese, you can call them sneaky, you can call them whatever. They're doing smart things, and there a couple of times in this match, they outsmarted the Shock. And the Shock are too cocky right now, especially coming off that match with Florida. And it happened the first week of the season, too. They kicked the Gladiators in the next fucking week. And then they went into the Houston match, and Houston fucked them. And there is this problem right now, and I don't care what anyone says. I think they're the best team in the league. Sort of. But we'll get to that after this tournament and see where things shake down. My thing is that their heads are bigger than their game right now. And Atlanta fucking exposed that. I love Super. I love his attitude and all that stuff. Sometimes he just thinks he's going to walk in there on Reinhardt and just fuck everybody. But you're not going to fuck somebody like Atlanta. They have guys that are just like him that will do things like that. They know what the guy's going to do. I mean, that play that Massa did on Oasis proved a point. They just think they're going to walk in And, the Imperial music's going to start playing from, the Darth Vader music, and they're just going to fuck everybody. You know what? I'm not buying it. But in this match, with Dallas without a hit scan player at the level of Eggsy, I'm fearful for them. But I do think that Dallas is going to give them a match. I think it's going to be 3-1 San Francisco. This is why. Without the hit scan player on certain maps, San Francisco will expose that. But Dallas will do a couple of things here and there, playing things that San Francisco's not ready for, or they think they're ready for in their mind, but not their attitude, and they're going to get screwed. And I think Dallas is going to take a map, maybe 2, but I'm going San Francisco 3-1 in this. So then we take it to the next round. Okay. I said my piece on San Francisco right now, and maybe that's a shout out to them. Get your fucking heads out of your ass and play like the San Francisco we know, instead of just thinking you own the damn league. Because everybody's leveled up, apparently, except for my team, against them. But anyway, next round. So we have the 1 and 2 seeds, which are Washington and Houston. I'm going to go with Florida, Houston, and then Florida, Washington, and then San Francisco, Houston. San Francisco, it's like the only thing they want to be in this tournament for is to fuck Houston. We'll get to that in a minute, but let's talk Washington and Florida. Now, from a fan standpoint, I'm a Florida stan. I am. From a fan standpoint, I want my team to fuck Washington into next fucking year. Fuck them. They fucked us last year with that whole stupid decay thing and all that. Washington and your fans, I'm rooting against you in this one, if we get there. But in reality, Washington's a better team, because this is why. And the supports go to Florida. Everything else goes to Washington right now. Jerry has proven me wrong. He is playing phenomenally. Decay is out of his mind. Assassin is one of the top rookies in the league, along with Mag on this team. Florida's tank line cannot hang with this tank line of Fury and Mag. That is the one thing. Because Florida's best thing is double bubble. And if you watch Washington plays it just as good, if not better, than they do on every level of that comp. Minus maybe the supports, where Florida's got Gangnam Jin and Slime. I like them better than Closer and Bebe. It is what it is, but that's the only thing that I would give to Florida. Maybe Yaki. BQB is fantastic, but the other guys that Washington have are just as good, if not better at times. So I'm looking at Washington at this one, 3-1. I don't want to say it, but reality is what it is. I want my team to fuck Washington. Like 3-0, 2-0 if they could do it, where Washington just says, fuck it, we're not playing map 3. But that's not going to happen. So, anyway, I'm going to take Washington in that. So, Washington's going to Hawaii. The other match. Now we have Houston and Washington, the rematch, with the money on the table. You know what? I'm going with fucking Houston. Fuck San Francisco in this one. I'm sorry. I'm just going to throw that out there. I've just jinxed you, Houston fans. I'm sorry. This is why. I think Houston knows their game. They beat them once. They have confidence against them. If you guys are NFL fans, this is slightly a reminder to me when the Giants played the Patriots in the Super Bowl, when the Patriots were undefeated. The Giants lost to them in the last game of the season. It's kind of relative. Work with me here. Even though Houston beat them. But it was the moment where they said, we can beat them, and Houston has done that. And they are not afraid. That's the thing with Houston right now against this team. I think Houston wins 3-2, and they go to the May Melee Finals. I can't pick a category where Houston is on paper better than San Francisco, but play-wise, as a team right now, I'm riding the Houston train on this. I think that Piggy and Chengdu can hang with anybody. Their supports are decent enough to do whatever work they need to be done. And their DPS are right now just as good as the Shock. Striker doesn't look as good as he did. Yeah, he clutches things out. But I think that the DPS line for Houston plays just as good, if not better, than the players that the Shock have. Because Nero's great. He's been playing phenomenal. But you can't tell me that Jake, Hydration, and Happy aren't playing as good as the San Francisco DPS. If Dante can play, which I don't think he can, because I haven't seen any word on that or not, I'm assuming no. But if Dante's in there, I like them even more. But their DPS are just as good. I'm sorry, not Dante. Jake is a phenomenal mind on the field. So if he's playing Brig or something like that, he has a lot to say. Or if, on certain maps where he plays DPS, he's going to do things. And, the Shock are not infallible right now. I'm taking Houston. I'm going out on a limb and taking Houston. I'm taking them 3-2, and your two teams from NA in the May Melee are going to be Washington and Houston. If you asked me that, or told me that 12 months ago, I would have told you to go fuck yourself. You're insane. But that's who I'm taking. So our four teams in my predictions are Philadelphia, Chengdu, the Washington Justice, and the Houston Outlaws. There you go, guys. That's who I have going into the Melee Finals. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks a lot for joining me, guys. We'll talk to you at the beginning of the week after all the dust settles on Sunday. It's going to be thanks for joining me on a late one as well. Everybody, thank you very much for all your support. We hit 200 subscriptions. I can't thank you guys enough. I know in the grand scheme of things, that's a small amount. But you know what? It's 200 people that want to come in here and talk about Overwatch League and hang out and watch me rant about stupid shit and talk about it amongst yourselves and us and all together. So thank you very much. Really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. Let's shoot for some more guys coming in here, too. I want to see some more people coming on in. We all can talk Overwatch League and all that stuff. Thank you very much, guys. But that's going to do it. This is Misfit. I'm out. Stay safe. Enjoy the prelims. Have a good rest of your day. And I'll talk to you on the next one. #BringTheMayhem.